All right, we're gonna get started. So couple things that we're gonna talk about today. One, hopefully everybody had the chance to go through some of their website stuff. I know Alyssa requested hers last night. Some of the AEO websites. How many of us actually went and did it?
Yeah. I'm trying, but I need.
All right. Well, I got you.
Yeah.
I got yours all done too, so we'll talk later. Everybody is able to go in and check, right? Super important. This is literally how. This is specifically for AEO and SEO, right? So remember, there's three different ways that you're going to come up online. There's SEO, which is still running the world, right? That's ran through Google, search engine optimization. And then you have your AEO, right, which is basically getting answered. So that's where we talked about how many times about blogs. We talked about creating the blogs and setting them up automatically. And then you have GEO, which is getting found, right? So generative engine optimization. And then you have SEO, AEO, GEO, okay? So this is specifically about AEO. So, and if you guys remember, Bree was one of the runner-ups or was the highest, within some of this stuff, right? And sharing some of the things. So the biggest part about all this stuff is how is AI pulling your information? So you guys got to be able to understand, are you using Wix? Are you using GoDaddy? Are you using whichever platform? And is it optimized not just for SEO, but for AEO? Google came out, just think it was last week, and they've rechanged their entire landscape, right? Some of us probably till this day still pull up Google Chrome, and then you ask a question. The first thing that comes up now is Gemini's response, right? And they're really changing a lot of those different categories. So if you guys have a marketing person, I can almost guarantee you a lot of marketing people are doing the same old SEO stuff, right? And it was funny because he actually texted me, and there was somebody who was on there where their score was really bad, and they were a marketing company. So, but it's funny because it's like their SEO score was really high, but then the AI search, which again, it's not the wave, it is the wave, right? Like this is literally how everybody is doing it. Let's be honest. How many of us have used AI or ChatGPT today alone, right? Hopefully every single person here got the notification of their calendar, right? Got the notification of their tasks, right? And all that fun stuff. So go through it again. We can pick on, say, flooring guy, and go through what are the different scores. Again, I did not score this, but very good on crawler access, very good on SEO, very good on HTML. Where it's a little on the lighter side is the answer engine signals. So that's generally going to be your block. I don't know if I could. Yeah, I can actually.
Yeah, we got you the right one. That's good. That's good.
You guys.
Thank you. Oh, you
So-
installed that?
So where are you guys scoring, right? So like I said, so answer engine signals. So you're going to see here, this is missing, right? And then again, address missing from schema, biggest opportunity zone. So if you have a physical address where your stuff goes to, right, make sure it's populating throughout the entire website, right? On multiple stuff, not just in the contact us page, but in the about page. If you guys are posting blogs, this was a new thing that we started doing, is make sure you give yourself credit as the author, right? Because a lot of us do it, but then we forget because it's on our website. Make sure you give, and we started doing that recently. Well, not recently, maybe like about 2 months ago. Not this website. We're now under our blog section. Hopefully the team's doing it. This is the market update. Yeah, right. They about to lose their job. Yeah. So you see author, so it ends at the bottom, and it's my name and then the team, and then we've talked about this time and time again, just on this topic specifically, is the way the blogs need to be. Is not just you vomiting information or chat vomiting information. It should come in FAQ style format, right? Because this is how is the housing market crashing in Monmouth County? That's probably a question the client asks, right? Will home prices drop? That's probably a question the client asks, right? And the goal is for us to be, for AI to go in, search the online database, and us come up, right? Content quality, all that stuff. And then remember, guys, everything here, there was a 30-day implementation plan. So everything that you guys need to be doing time and time again. Now, for those of you guys who haven't accessed this stuff, again, you go to theelevatealliance.com, you go to resources, and then this will give you guys the ability. It's going to ask for your name, email, phone number, send you a code. You'll be able to go in, and everything I'm basically going through on the back end right now, you guys will have the access to be able to pull all that information and get everything all the way back from 2025. So since 2025, when we all started meeting back in my office in Eatontown, to literally as recent as today's session. Okay. She is in my BNI. She's come a couple times. Yeah, she's yours is actually higher, but I didn't update it. Whatever. Home team, so on and so forth. What's his name? George was pretty good too. Which is, to be honest, surprisingly from a company generated website. But that goes to show his company's actually putting stuff out there. But again, where opportunities for improvement in just his particular website is just content quality. It might be more just generic stuff rather than things that consumers might actually have questions about, right?
Can you pull up ours up down? We're actually if I'm in there.
No, you're definitely in here. Number 10.
Because we're I think we're redoing our website.
Okay.
Because it's not like our results are like showing that it's high, but when we had a company review our website, they're saying all this stuff about schema and JSON.
Yep, JSON.
And
yep.
It's all things that like I can't do. So like we have to hire somebody to go in internally and
listen. You can hire somebody, or frankly, just in the digital age that we're in, if there's obviously everybody's job to an extent, right, is exposed because of AI, right?
Yeah.
And the cliche saying, if you don't use your replace, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
The reality of it is just a lot of this stuff can be to an extent done on your own, right? You can obviously hire that professional to guide you in the right direction from a consistent perspective. But having this is literally telling you guys based on the root of the stuff that you have, not just if it looks pretty, right? Because that is sometimes a factor too. But does it come up, right? If you search right now, title companies in, you guys are in Monmouth County. Title companies in Monmouth County, are you coming up? If you're not, that's the first thing we need to work on.
Yeah.
And the best way around it is by staying consistent in posting, not just on social, but the blogs, the articles, things like that, because that's the stuff that's going to continuously come up there. And also try to hyper focus on a niche of a specific area too. So whether it's Monmouth, whether it's Ocean, and then stay consistent, because that's where AI is going to crawl and pull that information from, right? I mean, you guys, your website's not terrible, right? I think it's just identifying what are the things in there. So 0 question-shaped headings. So to the point that I said, right, where when you're putting stuff out there, it should be in question format
So
when
I
you're
did
putting
do
the
that.
blogs. No concrete stats, no block. Again, this is not us. This
Yeah.
is just the AI site checker that we use, pulling
the
it.
analysis that we got from this company said that there's a lot of like internal stuff that can't be done through GoDaddy. That's
Okay.
what we use.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend GoDaddy as a host.
So I think that that's the problem.
I
think
think
it's GoDaddy.
The best ones that I've seen, if you're going to use one, is WordPress or Wix.
Yeah.
You're the marketing WordPress. WordPress is by far the ones, and you play around with it along the way. I'm sure WordPress. I'll be honest, I don't use WordPress,
Yeah.
but WordPress has its own built-in AI. Does it now or no?
I don't think so.
I'm sure by now it probably does.
It does.
Yes
That's
and
where
no.
I tried to start my website, and it gives you like sections where it'll generate.
Yeah, so I would. You could probably. I know the team sent this to you. Is you could literally just drop it in there, and it could either tell you I have no idea what the fuck you're telling me to do, or go through it, right, section by section, and then do it. That's what we've done. Like when I created Marco's website, it was at like 60 something.
That's right.
Like the second like it started. Now if I go and check, I think it's probably
Like 60 as in like the
60
number.
out of 100 of just how it's graded. Now if I go to his website, it's probably 90 something. And it's pulling again based on chat, Claude, Perplexity, 96.
Wow. That's an A.
So So it pulls that, and then from my conversations with just on that topic, is he's actually been getting calls.
Yeah.
Right. Like getting calls, getting estimates, booking that stuff, and not spending $1 in ad spend, just from the just from the authentic searchability and stuff like that. Which
We're number 13.
huh?
If I say how much I'm spending in ads.
Yeah, but it's working.
Yeah,
Which
it's working.
which is the good part.
Yeah.
And we'll do not now, but maybe I would probably say maybe in like a month or so, we'll do some like, all right, what do you guys do when you're running ads? Because I think that's the hard part. Some of us might try to sprinkle some money into ads, and then you end up wasting money because you don't have an actual system in place when the lead first comes in, right? And then you're wasting, thousands of dollars.
That's actually what I did before I started working.
That's what I figured. Yeah.
And now I do have a VA that answers scheduling and follow-ups and ask for reveals and all this kind of stuff.
That's the most critical part. So there's that, right? So so go through this again, make some recommendations. Again, this is not SEO driven. There's very different, metrics and stuff. It's completely different, right? SEO is still a big factor. So having a trusted person who can do that. If you guys don't have one, go to him, right? Go to Andrew. You guys will be able to get that guidance on the difference between the two. My focal point has always been on the AEO, GEO part because that's where a lot of home buying consumers, like 92% of people are going in our world to chat or Claude or whatever, answering those questions, right? Okay? Any questions on this stuff? Pretty straightforward. Cool. So, actually, let me go before I shift to the next topic. So we did last session. We did all about found, followed, and whatever, right? So we talked about putting out the AI-powered content, right? So turning your client questions into conversations. A lot of this stuff starts becoming repetitive, right? It's just a matter of doing it. The short form content, which we talked about, how many of us downloaded that app Captions, right? Those of you guys who did, take advantage of it. They're coming out with a lot of cool interfaces within it too. Branding and authenticity, we talk about time and time again. Ad creation is a big one. Now, Facebook has come out with its own built-in AI meta ad where it's optimizing your ad consistently, right? Which is super, super powerful. Competitor research, I know a lot of you guys like that. And then the automation and tasks, right? So Mark came last week or this week to my office. Last week, right? So Mark came last week and we set up a lot of different stuff, right? We're calendar. I think everybody here has that set up, right? Every single morning. Did you know, I just found out today.
That's definitely new.
You can actually email your significant other. Actually, let me say, I'll find out tomorrow. But I set it up today where you can actually have your calendar emailed to your significant other.
Oh, I like that.
So Ashley has access to my calendar. She just always annoys me and says, "What do you have going on?" And I have to pull up my phone.
Look at the calendar. Leave me alone.
So supposedly I set it up literally today. So we will find out if it goes through. And I did not tell her, so I want her to be like, "Fucking asshole." And
that was the biz dev manager's suggestion.
Yeah, so don't forget to me. That's my point.
I literally said, "Are you able to send emails to this person's email address 7 a.m.?" Yes, cool. And then I'm a dick, so it's like, all right, make sure you put, here's my calendar. Don't ask me what I have going on.
And make sure you add a heart.
No heart. Just here. This is what it is.
Put a gorilla emoji.
Yeah. So, so that was cool. I didn't know that. So think about that again, whether it's significant other or maybe your teammate doesn't have access to your chat or whatever it is. Now that's another way where you could actually notify them with that stuff, right? So pretty cool.
I wonder if it's gonna go to spam.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I know that mine. I mean, my emails are a disaster, but every morning I get the notifications. I should get the notifications. Here you go. It's like today's agenda, real estate news, all that shit. So, So all right. So we went over that, right? We touched on the calendar. We touched on all this stuff, all the infographics. I really hope you guys are taking advantage of the infographics. I think it's super, super cool to be able to just go through it. We're covering why you need to do something, the 6 steps to do it, what to focus on, and then the actual prompts and audit checklist. Okay. The time before that, the session before, we did the custom GBTs. Right? How many of us have actually created them? How many of us are actually using them? Right? Identifying who is your audience, again, like I said, right? So if you're using it specifically towards consumers, then you're going to obviously make it more educational driven. You're going to make it a little bit more of that. If you're using it more towards maybe partner driven or whatever it is, who's your target audience? Is it a vendor? Is it a wholesaler? Is it a supplier, right? To basically answer questions accordingly, right? And all that fun stuff. So today, what I wanted to kind of go over, and we actually did this session almost like about a year ago, but I think now it's a lot more organized and condensed. But you guys remember when we did a session about builders and I broke down the acronym, BUILDERS? So I'm going to go over that today with us and kind of incorporate all that stuff now that we're a little bit more in tune with some of the things, right? So again, we talk about this, right? Some of us, are you stuck in the operator and never the owner stage where you're actually in the business day in, day out, right? I used to block out, and Trevor can attest to this, I used to block out 2 hours a day. Now I block out 3 hours a day. Now I block out 4 hours a day where like loan officers don't talk to me. Like you physically can't talk to me, right? Like it's blocked out. A client can't book a time. A teammate can't book a time. My phone goes on do not disturb. And it's either I'm doing prospecting or frankly, I'm just hanging out with my kids, right? And I've started doing them earlier because a lot of times you get right into it and then you're fucked, right? Then the day happens, then a fire is putting out, then this, then that, and try to put it in there, right? Some of us might not be at that point, right? Where you're constantly still doing the firefighting, right? Where there is no room for strategy. I highly suggest in your calendar you time block at least an hour of just for your personal self, or we're all business owners, it's a new month, right? I always look forward to the month because then I can compare 2024, 2025, 2026 in terms of clients, conversion. I'm going to show you guys what we track. Living in the $20 an hour work instead of $1,000 an hour work, bottleneck of your business, no brand, being invisible in your market and all that, right? So the way we've broken it down, and again, you guys get access to all this, is a working session. So again, the B stands for blueprint. We always talked about Paleto's rule, right? 80-20, delegating the 20%, and then or delegating the 80%, concentrating on the 20%, unlocking your action, building SOPs. It has never gotten easier now while you guys are working on something if you just hired a VA, or if you're looking to delegate something to a teammate, whether it's maybe your kid's about to finish high school or middle school, and now I have so much shit for Layla that she's about to start on in like 3 weeks, and it's everything is built out for her in SOPs. Identify your edge, right? What am I going to concentrate on, and what are the things that I'm going to delegate, and what are the things that I'm going to automate? Like Danny is Danny, one of our loan officers. He was sharing how he's creating a Facebook group and he's going to be targeting a specific niche and so on and so forth. And then he said that he's going to go and like message every single one. That's not an income generating activity. Right? That takes time. That's consuming. So what you need to do is take pictures of your chicken scratch that he physically wrote down the people's names, send that to an admin. The admin's role now will be to do that messaging for you. Now my head also spins into, there's still a manual labor part in there. How do I automate it? And then I'm literally talking to him. My head's like moving because I'm like, all right, how the fuck do I figure this out? But yeah, so think if you're doing any particular task in mind is this something that a teammate can do? Or is this something that I can automate through AI, who is a teammate, right? Or is it something that I myself need to do, such as, finishing off your revenue, prepping, right? A lot of us, the end of quarter is about to happen, so making sure you have all your taxes in place in advance for your account. Leadership mindset, so operator owner, we talked about, just stick to brand, energy, and all that. So let's get into it, right? So again, this is where all that, and then we're going to layer in some tech within it, right? So mapping 80-20, execution over ideas, doing what you can, and all that. So the blueprint part, right? So if we're going to map, and I think I sent you guys an email this morning, right? Where I asked you guys to extract the last 30 days of your calendar. How many people did it, right? If you guys didn't do it, make sure you're doing this stuff so you get the most out of this, right? But it's so easy to the point where if your calendar is actually connected to your chat or to your Claude, that could have been an easy task right there. Hey, do me a favor. I'm about to walk into a workshop session, extract all my past meetings for the last 30 days, and then break it down into whatever the categories of your calendar is, right? Whether it's a client consultation, whether it's a, partner meeting, whether it's networking, or whether it's a closing, right? And then maybe you'll find out from there where you could spend your time. Let me close this so it doesn't blow up. Right? So mapping your last 30 days against your 80-20. What you guys can then do from there is feed. I've kind of made a transition into Claude for a multitude of reasons, but just you feed your AI agent a calendar export to tag every block, and it will tell you, right, if this is considered a 20-hour task or mine says 1,000, but or a $200 task, whatever it is, for you to do, right? Pick your lane. So again, depending on where you guys are at in your business. If you're a solo person, then it's going to maybe structure your time based on what time you should do something versus what time you should maybe not do something. If you're in a team, then obviously you can identify your team, and then it's going to tell you your bottlenecks, and then listing your SOPs, right? Scheduling, invoicing, follow-up. So if you went and hired your admin, and I know when you were looking for an admin, you have already all their checklists of how you want stuff to do. This is the actual application you're going to do. This is how I want it done. This is how I want the invoicing done. And if you set it correctly from the beginning, you never need to have this conversation again, right? So again, how you're going to lean on AI to help you is you guys have already done the hard part of connecting it. Now it's thinking creatively. And that's where I think we're at the age right now within technology, within AI, is the ones that are not even using it, because everybody's fucking using it. There's 190 million people that are in chat right now. And it's probably even more, but 190 million that are using it. I can guarantee you probably less than 1% are using it from a creative perspective. So you guys got to think from that creative perspective as to what are you doing. And you might not think of that what you're doing is it's just something that I have to keep on my plate. Just ask it, right? Ask it, act as my business coach moving forward and tell me this is what I have going on, what is it I should be doing. Turn a 5-minute voice note into a written step-by-step SOP. So what I always do is I like to dictate. Sometimes I had such a bad habit before I would dictate and just hit send and not actually read it. But dictate, hey, I'm about to, I want the team. Let me think of a task. Let's keep it on social media. Hey, I want the team to comb through my Facebook, identify any real estate professionals that might be looking for a potential lender. I don't want to work with any old realtors, so make sure you scrub them based on their profile picture. I want you to also pull their actual information and tell me based on this. And that's literally like, if I ever was to get audited and that list was released, I'd be fucked. But it's the truth. Now, what it does is it will then create a specific step 1, go to my Facebook, step 2, search for realtors, step 3, do this, step 4, do that, and all that stuff. Now it's a specific SOP. So now I don't have to go and ask the team for them to do something specifically because it's now also organized, and I think I've shared this with you guys before. It's now organized in a checklist, and now you could connect chat with your stuff. There's a checklist for everything. When there's a follow-up, when there's an engagement, when there's a podcast. Those of you guys who've been on the podcast, there's if it's a partner, if there's an appointment, if there's a lender for life, a rate lock, there's literally an SOP for everything that I expect them to do. Right? The importance of putting this stuff in place is so critical. So you guys don't have to repeat yourselves time and time again. And if you're an individual person, within your current business model and what have you, and you don't have that sales support, create that SOP for AI. Where this is how I want you to do it, and this is how I expect it. Create that SOP and then load it in there and ask it to remember this stuff, right?
Do that as a project.
exactly. Yeah, which we'll actually talk about. I think we did about projects. You guys remember the projects part, right? Right over here. All the different projects we have. So like audit your business, step-by-step guide. So this is my SOP project, step-by-step guides. The daily brief, which is that cheesy newsletter. The daily brief for Erica, who's one of our loan officers in Essex County. Schedule E income, Elevate Alliance, my workouts. Income, K1, pre-approval, emails, non-QM, conventional, BNI, HUD, podcast, profitability, calendar, book club, mortgage plan. Right? So I don't want to have to go back and repeat myself in order to do it. I won't even show you guys the Claude side because it's, yeah, there's a lot. So there's that. Anybody have any questions on that stuff? Pretty straightforward. So the first thing that we're going to do for this specific letter is we're going to go and we're going to ask it to extract our calendar, right? And we're going to ask it to basically itemize everything as to what is considered a task that you could potentially delegate and what is considered a task that you yourself need to do. Not what you think you need to do. It should give you that. And then you can maybe go back and forth. Well, I think this is something I should be doing versus another. Cool. Unlocking action. So again, trading ideas for execution. Leave the block with moves, not notes, right? So what does that mean? Cut 3 low-value tasks, which you're going to do because you guys have your blueprint set up, right? You're now going to next step. Build that SOP, right? Who knows what SOP stands for?
Standard operating procedure.
Right? Which is basically a checklist, right? And it could be in a multitude of ways. It could be in a Word doc, could be in a PDF, could be in a picture like mine are. Build an SOP, a video plus written before you leave the room. So I might have mentioned this to you guys. We also use something called Scribe, SCRBE. Some of you guys have heard of it. You could attach it to it's a Google Chrome, what's it called? Extension. You can click it. So while I'm doing something, I can click it. I can hit start capture. And anytime I move, it screenshots. So think about it. When you want a teammate or you want to, frankly, even for yourself, or your employer tells you, hey, what the fuck do you do on a daily basis? You're able to put that whole checklist in place and then identify it, and so on and so forth. And if you do, I don't have the paid version, frankly, I have the free version, but I know if you have the paid version, it can record too. So you're able to do that. Book your first CEO day, right? So usually my Mondays, which I just started doing literally, my Mondays are basically like personal. We're personal day. So I don't want any appointment, and it's not like a personal day with the kids. It's just, I want no appointments. And normally I have, like I said, 4 hours blocked out in order for me to do it, and so on and so forth.
I think that's good. You need one day to.
Yeah, it went from, like I said, it started at like 3 hours, then it was 4 hours, and now I have like one full day. And it's usually, for me, it's either Monday or Friday. And it just depends on sometimes what I have going on. Because end of month for us is just a shit show, right? With closings and people trying to sneak things through. Commit to one accountability habit for the next 30 days, right? For your business, right? We're not talking about the gym or anything like that. And that's the hard part, right? We always talk about so much stuff, and you're like, what the fuck do I do next? Starting from there. Drop a screen recording transcript into Claude to auto-write the SOP. So that's the other really cool part. Or chat. I'm going to actually edit this later to just say AI. But drop a screen recording transcript into your AI to auto-write the SOP. Doesn't get easier than that, right? The old school way, I literally used to do it. I used to have 2 screens. I had, you guys know the snipping tool? I used to literally fucking snip, drop it in a Word document, type, step 2, drop it in a Word document, type, step 2. And we still use those SOPs till this day. It's just not a lot easier. Generate a 30-day accountability tracker tied to your daily 3 wins. I'm going to show you guys something that we did too right now for an accountability tracker to help you guys, right? Have AI draft your CEO day agenda straight from your current goal. So if it identifies your tasks, like we're going to do the first step, and then the next step is we're going to give it something of what we want to concentrate on. You could literally have a project set up where call it CEO day, call it whatever you want, and it could tell you how you could specifically target your goals. So let's talk about the tracking part before we move on to the next one. So I did an Excel spreadsheet for us. Basically, you guys will have the opportunity to download this, right? Everything that we talked about. So your hours and X amount of, working. Let me change this. Right? How much are the hours you need to block out weekly? How are you doing better? Are you doing worse? What's your baseline? What's your target? And how to do it. Okay? And I broke it down. Listen, some of it might be mortgage driven. I try my best to keep it generic, but you guys can edit it accordingly. Here's where you guys can put all your tracking logs too. Okay? So your hours, your accountability, your time and only me, your tasks, your referrals, all that stuff, right? It becomes cool. This is something that you can maybe share with your spouse, something that you could share with your business partners, and so on and so forth, to kind of also learn from that stuff. And then I put a guide for us too. So what you're supposed to each do, what we're going to measure, how it's going to calculate, how frequently you guys should do it, where to pull the source, the calendar, audit, and then the target. Cool?
Great.
Makes it easier,
Yeah.
right? Let's go back. Identify your edge. So this part is really important, right? List every reoccurring task and mark it only me, delegate, or automate it. Write the one-sentence version of your edge and hand off your first delegated item with a clear outcome. What does that mean? So again, once you guys have uploaded your calendar and it tells you something that you could delegate, something that you can automate, you go back and forth to identify what are the things and how do you want things to come out, right? When I give, an admin or Trevor or one of our loan officers something, it's why do I want you to do it? How do I want you to do it? When do I want it by? So if I give them a task, I expect this to be done by 11 a.m., right? They're like sweating bullets at like 11:01 if I don't have it because they know like I'm anxiously waiting for a specific task to be done. So think about that when you guys are assigning a task to a teammate or assigning a task for yourself. Are you also telling them how do you want it and by a deadline? That was a new thing that we also started doing over the last several months is I want this and I want it done by a certain time frame. Draft the role description for the work you keep taking back. Leadership mindset again, so that would be the L part. Again, generally operators are being reactive, bottlenecking every call and trading time for money. And in my world, when we obviously talk to the client consistently, right? Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But if a client asks me a questions about documents, which Gina can attest to, if a client asks a questions about documents, I literally say, I have no fucking idea. You got to talk to Pam.
Yeah.
Why? Because that is my operations world is Pam is responsible. If a client asks me a question about, like something that they're tracking or so on and so forth, that would be a question for Trevor. Right? I know what is happening. I probably know the answer, and I have to literally fight myself to not give them the answer because I know that she's missing the second page of her fucking bank statement. And I can easily tell her that she's missing the second page of the bank statement, but the second I open up that window, they're going to come to me for documents, and now I'm being pulled away from doing my sales prospecting. Right? And it's tough. We all suffer from that, right?
Yeah.
I actually sometimes even tell Trevor, I'm like, dude, just tell me if I'm getting in the fucking way. We just want to get it done,
Yeah.
right? And then a lot of the times they're doing it to the point where they're collaborating externally to keep me out of the loop purposely, right? Giving me the yes. I mean, it's the stuff that needs to be done, right? My role, right? Our role as owners is to do what? Is to build systems, right? Is to be that architect of the systems, is to be that visionary, is to build that culture, right? Is to build the leverage and not the hours, right? I have never, this comes total humble, I've never made more money in my life and worked less, right? And if I am working a little bit more, it's not talking to clients, it's actually spending more time building shit and having fun building stuff. And by the time we built something, a month later, I'm like, hey guys, this is more efficient. We're gonna scratch this. But now that we've scratched it, here's a full-blown checklist. I'm not just gonna tell you forget everything that we did. It's always being built upon it. And if we're going to truly adopt specifically this stuff on the technology side, you have to be really, really quick to pivot, guys, because this shit is moving lightning fast.
Literally, I'll be like, oh, really? Oh, you just found this. How'd this happen? Oh, this just came out 3 days ago. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Some of the calls and conversations that we have with people, I know a lot of us sometimes like, all right, we came to one Elevate Alliance meeting, we come to the next Elevate Alliance meeting. I'm like, did you guys do it? And like some of us don't raise their hand. It's like you guys remember when we were in school, right? And we missed a couple days, like my kids do if we go on vacation randomly, and then you come back and like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
That is how quickly a lot of this stuff is moving, right? Like chat just came out with 5.5, right? It's so crazy. It's got codecs now. It's got all this stuff built in. And I don't know what version we were at last year, but I think it was either like 2 or 3. So, and that is a massive company that's about to go public, right, with IP. So, things to keep in mind. On our old, right, build a quick rate calculator and below the line stop doing lists, so on and so forth. Anybody have any questions on that, right? So what are we going to do when we do this? We're going to, again, create that project on that, CEO day partner and engage in those conversations back and forth. Distinctive brand. This becomes repetitive. We're breaking, talk to a broken record, but 76% of people buy on trust. You get 3.4% more referrals by being found, 68% better client retention by them being able to identify, right? When we think of Nike, what do we think of?
Just do it.
Right? When you think of whatever, well, yeah, that too. Burger King, have it your way, right? All those brands, right, come, and it's usually just a fucking check, and it makes no sense. What was the one I'm trying to think of the analogy? Or like, when you think of an Apple, right? We think tech, but from a logo perspective, it's a fucking Apple. Yeah. Like, how does that relate to tech? They've done such a great job of building that brand that people can relate to it, right? Amazon, obviously, all these large companies, Tesla. So in the room, right, when we talk about brand, and if you guys remember this analogy, we talk about branding, it's belief. So you believe in what you're actually selling. If you don't, you got to find another profession, right? Remembering what you preach, it's a big part too, right? Who is your target audience, right? Like I said, there are certain referral partners that I just don't want to work with. Like, no hard feelings. I'm not going to spend that extra time to do so. The narrative. Who is your target audience and how are you relating to them, right? Is it going to be, if it's not going to be online, is it going to be in person? Are you doing more in-person networking? Are you doing more targeting a specific niche? Then obviously digital trust, right? We all talked about, how many of us have a Google My Business profile? I think everybody raised their hand, right? We were at, where were we at with the Google My Business profile? And like half the people didn't raise their room or didn't raise their hand. I think it was at Greater Ocean something. Yeah, it was a chamber event for Monmouth Ocean Development Council. I think it was, and they asked us, to come speak, and I asked that question: how many of us have a Google My Business profile? Almost like half the room didn't raise their hand. And I was like, all right, guys, forget everything I just talked about and go get a Google My Business profile.
Do this today.
And I'll tell you guys, it's a pain in the ass. Has anyone done one recently?
No.
So I have been, for my value, right, proposition, I have been going to new realtors and saying, hey, we got to get you on Google.
Mm-hmm.
When you get business, we get business. How can I help you? And I've been meeting with them and helping them build it. Dude, it is a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Especially for realtors because of the location. It doesn't want to accept. We're like making videos like, hey, this is our business. Here's our mailbox. Like, it's been crazy.
Yeah, you got to like start from the outside.
Yes. Show the
And you
street
gotta show
signs.
going in.
They require
Yeah, I have to
pictures,
show my
you gotta make
truck,
them-
Yeah.
sign, tools.
Yeah. You gotta
And
show
the
pictures
and the
stuff.
second
It's gonna make cars
the
look
second you make any changes,
They take you down.
they won't take you down, but they'll like technically they will take you down. They'll like make you not verified,
Exactly.
and then you have to go and re-verify it. I did it for what the fuck happened in Eatontown? What did I change? I think I added the letter D.
There was something minuscule, and then you had to do the whole thing, and then they didn't accept one because you didn't start at the outside.
Like I started from like I was like inside the building from the lobby, and then I have to the other office in Eatontown. I'm like I had to like walk up and do it. They denied it because I didn't start from fucking outside.
Oh my god.
It was brutal.
You get an email that says, you've been verified.
Yeah.
You're definitely verified. Yeah.
Mr. 96.
So, so then you've heard me talk about ROI, right? And not return on investment, right? It's relevancy, omnipresence, and intimacy. So are you relevant with your clients in terms of your content? Can you be found again everywhere? And then can your clients actually connect with you, right? You're not hooking up with them, right? You're just, is the intimacy with what you're actually going to be putting in place aligned with what you can actually relate to, right? Again, how you can leverage AI with this stuff. Voice match captions for Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. Launch a 12-month content. So that's what we do for LinkedIn. So I think I told you guys we have literally a 12-month content creation that automatically posts for us on LinkedIn. It's done, it's set, and then usually we'll go in there and tweak it to tell it to update based on more market news, but it's automatic, and that's more from a recruiting perspective. So because it's recruiting, I have it post to LinkedIn, right? Daily rate graphics, which you guys all see, right? Claude, and then one of the platforms that we'll use. Huh?
Never heard of Banner.
Yeah, it's one that we started playing around with a little bit to auto make graphs and stuff.
What name will they come up with next? I don't know.
All right, so the other one, right? The E from builders stands for energy and accountability. The part that I'm sure some of us hate doing, holding our team accountable, right? But putting the numbers in front of them. Accountability is clarity, measurable actions, and visibility, right? So we do it every single month, right? Trevor and I will sit, we'll go over numbers. We have, you guys remember at the beginning of this year, or technically end of last year, we all did, hopefully, the business plan for the business, and then we did a life plan, right, with your spouse and stuff like that. This is the cool part, right? 5 months in the year, 6 months left. You told me that you wanted to make $250,000. You made 30, bro. Right? So you got about 220 to go. Now, in our world, that might not be unachievable because now's the time for you to get busy. Right? Is that my fault? Yep, sure is. Oh, jeez. Wow, thanks for telling me. Now is the time to revert back to that stuff, right? So 5 months done in the year. If you guys actually did that workbook, you have the ability to do it, right? It's not micromanagement. It's not guilt. It's just the reality of you told me you wanted to make $250,000. You only made $30,000, right? Install the systems, right? So 3 wins, a weekly scorecard, which I just gave you guys, right? And then add the team later. Again, psychology, safety, plus recognition. So some of the ways you could leverage tech. So we have with our team, right? Trevor meets with the employees at least once a week, right? And does a weekly check-in, right? When he does those weekly check-ins with the employees, the AI agent is in there recording the whole thing. So now we're protected also from any Department of Labor stuff ever because we're doing our part of also holding them accountable. And at the same time, if I fire you, yo, bro, you just weren't cut in it, right? Generate daily 3-win prompts and role results into a team dashboard, right? Where we're leaning on each other. We also use WhatsApp as what you're doing well and what you're not doing well. Turn your meeting transcripts into action items, which we've talked about how we take that, we drop it in Notebook LM, and we've gone through that stuff, right? So one of the things while we're talking about accountability, this is something that we give to our team to track their, let me make it bigger and I'll work my way down. So track your conversion, right? So I call it the 6 C's. So the first thing is we're all committed to putting content out there, right? So that's the first C, content. Show up every day, track what you post, leads to bring in. There's different ways on social. We talked last session or 2 sessions ago, right? The difference between having a professional dashboard versus a personal dashboard. You see your insights, right? Alyssa shared the other day some of the stuff that she's done. Victor, you've shared yours. And then again, identifying too, right? Like I actually started noticing more results back from my reels. So if you guys might have noticed, I've been posting a little bit more reels than carousels. Right? Who knows? I just noticed more people watching it. So I started doing more reels, right? And less carousels, stuff like that. So
Just going back to the content, you all know what Danny does online and everything. Yesterday he posted something, and he was in the Eatontown office. I was like, oh, I didn't know you were in the Eatontown office yesterday. Because I wasn't. That was something I created like 4 months ago.
yeah.
Oh, he's like, yeah, I've got a whole like backup of videos if I can't.
That's great.
So just remember, just create content whenever you
Yeah.
can and save it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always going to be relevant.
And again, the purpose of it now too is you guys can also, depending on your craft too, but you also have the ability to schedule it too. Right? So if ladies, you guys get your hairs done, you guys get your nails done, you shoot your content, fellas, whatever, right? Clients, right? Know every name in your pipeline, logging where they came from. Don't fucking tell me it's in your phone, right? Because if your phone craps on you, you're screwed, right? You'd be surprised how many partners I talk to, and I'm like, do you use a CRM? Yeah, I have one. We log in if the team gains access, and their last lead input, it was like 2025. I was like, what has happened for the last 6 months, right? And if they are logging their clients, because it comes in automated, there's no notes. So how is my team going to help you follow up on your leads when I don't know, first of all, what they are? Are they a buyer? Are they a seller? Are they a FISBO? Whatever. To that point, right, the next C is you track those conversations. So every call, every text, every DM is logged. Follow up before they chase you. The deal lives in the follow-up. And again, going back to AI now, is if you guys have your stuff connected, you can chat through your phone, whether it's Follow-Up Boss or whatever CRM that you use, and you could log it, and then now it's picked up directly. Credit, again, I got to figure out another C for us. Maybe we can call it like converted sale or something. But credit in our world, like, all right, now the client is basically agreeing to work with us. So we, did you pull it? Track the scores, the disputes, and the rescores, right? So that was an example that we do. We pull our loan officer's credit, and don't mind the names, but I'll just pull Danny because we just mentioned Danny.
Yes.
Danny. So my first thing to Danny, and fuck, I shouldn't have mentioned numbers, but whatever. So Danny, this is how much you've closed. This is what you've closed every single month. This is the number you wanted to tell me you wanted to hit, and then also, this is the credit reports that you've pulled for the year. You've done 7, 3, 4, 4, 9. In our industry, usually on the East Coast, when do we get busier? Spring and summer. So you've pulled 9, which tells me you're going to be busy in June, July, right? Because it's generally lagged, right? But you guys see it, right? Pulling that and putting it in front of your teammates or even for yourselves is so critical. Contracts, again, in our case, you guys can look at it, I guess, contracts to yourselves too. Application to approval, tracking every doc, tracking every deadline, and the missed date is a lost client. And then, of course, the last thing would be closing, right? Clearing the conditions before they stall, and then all that, the most important part, the seventh and most important C to cap it all up would be conversion. Where is there cracks in your, another C, where is there cracks in your communication, right? If you're putting a lot of content and you're not getting clients from it, guess what, bro? Your content sucks, right? Or you're targeting the wrong audience. If you're getting a lot of clients, but you're not having a lot of conversations, that generally means like what we were just talking with Victor, where you have a crack in your system, you got to put the SOP first for the admin to do it. If you're having a lot of conversations, but you're not getting a lot of credit, that means you suck at conversating and you're not building empathy with your client.
It's crazy the amount of cracks that I found after I got hurt.
Mhm.
Because
Well, yeah, because now you're not in the field. You're actually building your business, right?
So I found
Maybe it happened for a reason.
so many cracks, and now I got a guy that it's outside, which is driving me, a good friend of mine. It's part of the team, and I'm getting to teach him every single thing that I do with my clients, the way that I handle the project. So
Yeah, so now he'll be your project manager.
near future, so he's going to step up, and as soon as I get back on my foot, I'm gonna start driving again, and then he's gonna start driving another truck.
Yeah.
And start selling
Awesome.
again, and start like,
That's great.
Yeah.
I think that's.
And that's
I learned a lot of stuff.
you got hurt.
yeah.
I mean,
It's a blessing in disguise.
I try to see a good even in bad situations. 'Cause
Yeah.
I've been through hell with this thing and very depressed, and you get very like limited to do things that are small tasks. I can't drive. I can't drive anywhere.
Buy a Tesla and let it drive for you.
True.
One of my guys told me this morning.
Oh, you said the same thing? Yeah. So you guys see that, right? Taking a step back, and we all have that opportunity to take that step back, right? 4 years ago, I took a complete step back and literally wiped everything out of my bank account, right? And now we're at 400%, right? So taking that step back is so important, right? All right, so continuing on, right? You pull a lot of credit, but you don't have a lot of contracts. you're probably getting shopped, right? It's the reality of it. You talk to a lot of clients and all that stuff, but they're shopping you, which again means you didn't build that rapport, you didn't build that trust, they just used you. You get a lot of contracts and you close, great conversion. You get a lot of contracts and you don't close, also. They're probably shopping you, or you're working with just not great clients, right? Who maybe need a lot of credit repair, or maybe need a lot of, down payment assistance, or any of that stuff, right? So that's where when you look at everything from a high, eagle eye view, to your point, right, where you take a step back, that's what's going to help you guys to convert and monitor, where you need to either hire more, or you might even, in many instances, like in my business, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We downsized. I fired VAs, I fired LOAs, I fired processors. I don't fucking need you, right? So going back to the accountability part, right? You see how it all kind of comes together. Replacing yourself through systems, which is basically what I just said, right? The first thing you guys are going to do is research, which is what we just talked about, those 6 C's. We take the execution and then the ownership. And you have to have some difficult conversations with your sales employees, or difficult conversations sometimes internally with yourselves. If you have all that stuff, the trigger, the process, the outcome, like we just talked about, you're there. So what do you guys do? We already did this a little bit, right? You run that 5 a.m. every morning email triage, right? Or 7 a.m., 8 a.m., whatever you guys do.
Don't look at me like,
Yeah. Where it tells you how many emails you guys, how many emails did you send? That's one. And also, how many emails did you receive? That's another. And also, how many events do you have coming up? Right? Those are the 3 things I know Mark and I had set up. Auto file incoming client documents. This was something new that we started doing. And it still requires, to Victor's point, right? There's still cracks. But when a client emails documents, this is why we use Claude a lot now, is when a client emails documents, it will actually pull the documents and then it's going to drop it in the client's drive. So that's pretty freaking cool. Instead of us having to look through our email and stuff, it's huge. And it really helps. Again, I'm always thinking systems, operations. Operations is always stuck looking for documents. Now, this can pull the data based on the emails, because no matter what you tell people to fucking upload it to the drive, they still email it.
I know.
Or text it.
Sideways and backwards and upside down. And all the documents, like.
So that's something. But and then you generate, like I just showed you guys, right, a full SOP library with the recorded walkthroughs. You can't, in my opinion, you can't truly hold your team accountable to certain things if you don't have real, transferable systems, right? We all go through positions in our, or phases in our career, right? Where you start off as an admin, then you become a salesperson, then from a salesperson you become a manager, from a manager you become a VP, then an owner, so on and so forth. Building those hiring mechanisms are huge. Which comes to this point of smart hiring, right? Hire on data and not charisma, right? A bad hire costs you more, so on and so forth. Build a structured scorecard, right? We've done trainings on hiring before, right? Drafting a job ad is critical, right? Did your ad go live, Marco? The ad? Yeah. So drafting a job ad and the screening questions is huge, right? And not trying to talk to you. We turn down so many goddamn candidates, right? Obviously way more than we hire, because if you do a lot of refis, I don't want you, because then you suck at converting. And if the market changes just as quickly as you did a lot of money, it's just as quickly as you're dead. If you depended on, respectfully, a lot of realtor business and you didn't, think differently, I don't want you, right? Because you're not going to network, you're not going to do certain strategies, you're not going to do content and things like that. So have those metrics in place. And I have those metrics, like I shared earlier, like how we have that picture perfect filter for a referral partner. We have the exact same picture perfect filter, except now that stuff took a lot of time. That stuff took time from my admins. That stuff took time from Trevor. So what do? I realized that stuff. I noticed that it costs me money to have these people do it. So I hire a third-party company who does our headhunting for us, right? And that's literally their job. You summarize the interview notes, so on and so forth, and you take it from there. Anybody have any questions on that? Pretty straightforward. The last part and the most important part is scaling the business without you, right? Your business is still running even though you're not physically there. That's a good thing, right? That's what you want. Build it like that franchise mentality, right? Repeatable systems produce repeatable results. But it has to be regimented. There can't be any potential room for things being done differently. Weekly calls, we meet with the team. For the last 8 fucking years, I've met with my team Friday at 9 a.m., right? Monthly, all hands on deck call, and then we do a quarterly offsites. We always meet in my office, or we always meet, at Top Golf or whatever it is, right? Monitor the KPIs that matter. We just talked about, right? Sales, churn. Who knows what churn means, right?
The people that fall off your lost customers.
People that you lose, right? You guys know that, right? That's super, super important, right? Especially if you're in a somewhat of a one-time service base, if that makes sense. Like if you're selling a house, or if I'm doing the mortgage, or if you've just done, I guess maybe their floors, right? They're not buying as much. Those would drive me batshit crazy, right? If they lose. I'm sure you probably, Derek, you probably monitor a lot of the churn rate, right? If they've, not refied, if they renewed their policy somewhere else, if they cut, right? Cash flow is huge, obviously, right? Test of an owner, the business runs 30 days without you, right? Like I could physically be able to not pick up my phone, and I want to build it to a point where I don't have to do it.
I just had this conversation with Emily this morning. Like the girls in the office, like, are always asking her questions, and I'm like, Emily, like you're the owner. You should be able to be in the Poconos in a hot tub on a Wednesday if you want, and they should be able to do everything. She shouldn't have to be in the office every day.
Yeah.
So, sorry, Tinker.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, the scarier part, right, is you want to avoid burnout, right? We always talk about it, right? And I think Alex Hermosi talks about it all the time. But you can't really burn out if you like something. But at the same time, right, there's a saying of those who always work at night, right, will burn out. Not necessarily. If you like what you do, if you work all days late and you work all days, that stuff, yeah, you're gonna burn the fuck out, right? But if you work occasionally because you have a passion of putting something together for your team, which is going to allow you the opportunity maybe in a week, maybe in a month, maybe in a year to pull back completely, I don't think you'll suffer burnout from there, right? Auto-built KPI dashboard, which we talked about. Automated weekly reporting. Again, all this stuff, guys, can be built from technology. It just has to, the most important part is your employees or ourselves need to be the ones logging this data, or else it's not going to work. And then a command center you could build out on Lovable or whatever platform that's going to build that stuff for you, right? This is just a recap of the different stuff that we talked about, right? Claude or Chat, right? Fireflies, again, we talked about that before. Lovable, which is one that we've been using to build websites. Zapier, Banner, or Canva. Credit Expert, this is just from our world, right? Stuff like that, right? System scale you, delegation multiplies you. Yeah, that's about it. I think that's all the. This is a cool thing. We've talked about this before, but one of the things that let me remove my stuff. One of the things that you guys can be able to run the numbers, right? So how much did you earn last year? I don't know. Let's say 150,000, right? We all work just to keep it. Let's be honest. Most of us are working more than 40 hours a week. But 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. How much do you want to earn, right? Let's say 250. And the goal is for us to work less, say 35, and maybe take 4 weekly vacations. You'll be able to take it from there, right? So if you want to make an extra $100,000 a year and work a little bit less, and most of us here are not salaried employees, right? We're all generally, to an extent, commission-based employees, right? So the difference in your hourly, 150, 250, we're breaking it down, breaking the hourly, total hours, your hourly rate. I love this. Like this makes me like so relating to the loan officers and stuff like that. Like you guys saw when we ran their numbers, there's a different one where we put their numbers in front of them. And then I tell them, right? Because just like most of us, if we're commission based, at one point in our career, we're like, maybe I need to go get a 9 to 5, right? Bro, you made $72 an hour last year. That's not bad. That's pretty decent, right? If you continue on hitting the 250 and working a little bit less, you're going to almost double that in that example, right? And then maybe you still work 40. All right, so you're not going to double it. Maybe you'll be at 130, right? But you'll be able to take 4 weeks of vacation with the family. I'll take all day, right? And then break it down even more, right? Where your monthly, your weekly, your daily, your hourly, and then even down to a minute. Right? I too. He
I
sees
can't
it.
go to the bathroom. It's probably $2.
This is pretty much my thing. The role to make $1 million.
Oh, you have it? Yeah.
That's my goal.
What's it like?
It's,
Screensaver.
I gotta
How long
make
it's been since I've done it?
83.33
A month. Yeah.
month and
83,000 a month. All right, we got
Yeah.
some work to
And
do.
that's my goal this year, and
Gonna keep
I
sharing
don't
your
know,
stuff, Victor.
but
Don't
I-
worry.
You got it.
I have it here and
But
working towards.
you think about it, right?
I don't know if I'll get there.
You will.
Write down your goals.
The biggest part we do sometimes with our loan officers, and I'll end us at this because I know we're right over. I call it, and I could drop this in here if you guys want to. I call it the business activity builder, and I think I've shared this with you guys before. Let's change it to John Doe. Let's use that same example, right, of the one that we just did of the 250, right? You want to make 250. A commission per deal, let's say, and obviously every industry is going to be different, right? But let's say you guys are at 150 basis points, so 1.5, which means, I'm trying to think from like that's basically like if I was to attribute it to mortgages, we're at like, I'm at 350, 150, let's say 42%. So let's say you're paying your sales rep 42%, right, of the commission. Or let's say your ticket item in this case would be roughly about 450,000. So only 80% of the stuff that they do converts. 50% of the clients that they actually put in an application actually close the deal. Let's say 70% of the people you talk to do an app, and so on and so forth. This is the part that I want to get to. In that example, where based on the ROI, they would only need to close 3 deals a month. $250,000 sounds like a lot. Depending on the person, right, might be unachievable. But if you tell them you only need to close 3 deals a month, that's not a lot, right, for whoever it is. This is where when you really break it down even further, is that's actually only 15 leads a month, 3.6 leads a week, half a fucking person a day.
So we gotta hope a
You
midget
talk to
is in the
half a
mix.
person a day and convert, you have the opportunity. You have the opportunity to make 250 grand.
That's great.
Right? Putting that, so think about that. If you have a sales teammate, a support staff, or yourself, and this is the cool part, 20 marketing activities. So all you have to do is make 20 phone calls. 20 phone calls, maybe a mix of phone calls and emails or a networking event or whatever the case may be, and you'll be able to convert from there. Right? So I'll actually,
Yeah, can you put that in there? I like that.
yeah, I'll drop that.
I was just looking for it in there.
And then a 10x.
Yeah, 100%.
I was very looking before. You're on my nerves today, Marco. I'm not liking you. I usually love you.
He's got those fancy glasses on.
Yeah,
Those are
I
big
would say
shots.
something with the glasses.
I'll
He's,
get
prob-
it out of
he's
glasses.
probably reading through the lens, recording everything.
Cool.
Oh, he probably is
He is, that's what
recording.
they are.
You'll never know.
Oh, I know.
All right, cool. Anybody have any questions?
That was great. Abdel.
We're good?
Thank you.
Cool. All right, awesome. Guys on Zoom, you guys got any questions? We're good?
Yeah, we're good. This was great.
Cool. Awesome. Awesome. All right, so normally we'll do a recap like we always do with the housing link. I'll share that to all of you guys, and then we'll take it from there, okay?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.